parts in the big camera. They're all still doing the same thing at like in the core, you know. So
Right, right. Ah,
yeah, you can
amazing.
do it.
That's good to know. So, can I just ask for lessons at least? Can I ask for lessons at least from somebody that I know? It's
Yeah. Hey, I am down to answer all questions for anybody and everybody. Just get in touch whichever way you need to, whether it's social or email or whatever. And I'm down to answer questions. I think I do enjoy doing that and explaining stuff, you know, explaining what I do. I think it's useful for me to remember how I do it.
okay.
Um, so yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm down.
Okay, so to all the listeners, you heard it right here on After Five Radio. He said it. It was me. Wongani just said it. So if you need any help, do get in touch with him and just your social handles before we even get into the fun stuff as well. So before,
My Instagram is Bongaj. It's Bongaj.
Mhm.
For Instagram, Twitter, it's Bongani underscore Bongaj, and then Facebook is just my name, Bongani Mlambo, on there, or Bongani DP, like either one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that is so awesome. So when did you discover like your passion now for cinematography? Seeing that at first you started with computer science and you're thinking, okay, now I want to go all in with cinematographer. So when did you discover your passion for that?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think it was always there in small ways, except I didn't realize that it was a thing or possible. So I think I've always been visually driven, and I remember doing, you know, painting in primary school. And I think in grade seven, we won, you know, our class won a competition to go to Disneyland. Paris was like the UNESCO Children's Summit or something like that.
Oh,
So there
nice.
was always painting and drawing some stuff. I did that. And then in at St. George's, you know, we had a choice. They did form one and two. Then they gave you choices, random choices like, you know, you can do art or Latin, or you can
Oh,
do
wow.
computer science or geography. Like I think they're really trying to divide accounting or French, really trying to
Right,
divide you into what you want to do. You know, and
right,
so I went with art. I think it was art or history. I did art, and
right.
so there the art class
Good
was
choice.
mostly
Good
painting.
choice, by the way. Good choice.
Yeah, I wish I knew more history now. I'm curious more
I'm
about it.
learning my history now. I am learning my history now. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Now I appreciate it so much more. But I did art, and that art class, you know, they did a little bit of drawing, but it was mostly like painting.
okay.
Um, and you know, would paint still life stuff. Sometimes they'd bring models and we paint models, or we just go out to different parts of the school and paint. You know. And
Right.
so I think I always had this visual thing going on. And then right after school, and I only went up to Form 4. I only did Form 4, and then I started working at Celebration Church. I don't know if it's still called Celebration now.
Yes, it is still celebration.
Yeah, and so I was going to youth group there, and um, kind of linked up with the youth group people and started doing some of like the graphics, like creating posters, and then I started doing like After Effects and Premiere and editing and doing motion graphics, whatever stuff we could, and you would just, you know, record whatever little things you could on like a little point and shoot camera, just to make the promos for every, you know, Friday night or whatever youth group.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and so I think there again it was this mostly visually driven with like the graphics and the things like that. And so in that process, like I said, it was VFX was the thing that all of that stuff added to, because I was like, oh, computers, visuals, VFX. And then so like 16, 17, I think is when it made the leap to filmmaking, something like that.
Like solid, solid. Where you're not worried about, okay, am I ever going to be able to make it? Not make it per se, but make a living out of it, if I should put it that way.
This is the thing. I think when you're 16 or 17, you don't think like that. You just like, oh, I want to do this thing, I'm just gonna do it. You don't really know like the realities of like doing it. At that point, you know, you're still living with your parents, so you're not thinking about all the bills you're gonna have to
Right.
pay. You don't think of any of that stuff. You're just like, oh, I want to do this thing.
Right.
Uh, and I think it's good, right? In the beginning, it's sometimes beneficial to be a little bit ignorant or maybe naive is
It is.
the
It
word,
is.
because you go full force into it. If you knew all the potential struggles and all the struggles that I have gone through, if I knew that before I did it, it would seem
Yes,
so insurmountable that I wouldn't want to do it.
of
I
course.
think sometimes like just going step by step, like just taking each step as it comes,
Right.
is better, and so I think for me, that's just what I did. And like I said, I think in the end, like our parents were very supportive. Like they didn't say, no, if you don't do computer science, then I'm not sending you overseas,
Right.
because for them, they are, you know, busting their ass, excuse my French. Like so many people to
That's
send their kids overseas is such a big thing. Every
oh,
single
absolutely.
bit of time and work and effort is devoted to that, and it's for like your success. Like they're very focused on you being successful,
Mhm.
and in a kind of way, there's pressure to like honor that, but like all of that, they supported us through it, and I think that was also valuable as well. I think having that support, or at least even if it wasn't like outright support, which it was in my case, at least
Mhm.
people not squashing your dreams. I think that's very a big thing. And so I feel like I was kind of supported in that regard. And then over time, we get here, we're going to school, we're doing whatever job we can at school, like tutoring or all this sort of stuff. And once they see that, oh, like, oh, they're making it. They're not calling, they're not struggling. It seems like they're doing well. It's like your parents come around, and then especially
Right.
now, I think they're probably our biggest fans. Our parents are our biggest fans. Like
Nice.
they love everything we do. Like, um, and they're just really happy for us.
So, question that just came out
Yeah, yeah.
right here. So, do you think if
Hmm.
they're not supported you, or not even not supported you, do you think if they had said you're not going to do this unless you do computer science, do you think you would have given up or still done it after? Because like with
Mm-hmm.
some people end up saying, ah, so what's the point? At least now I have my computer science degree and you're miserable, right? And just go ahead and keep doing it.
Yeah,
So do you think you would, because the older you get, the more fear kicks in, right?
yeah.
Right?
I
So do you think, what do you think?
I don't know. So the thing is, for me, I'm a very kind of curious person,
Right.
and so I had a lot of interests. I
Hmm.
think that's maybe. So I think I could have seen myself doing computer science, and there's a version of me that would just be fine and happy doing computer science,
Oh,
because it's not like it was just something I was being forced to do. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy kind of computers and technology and all this stuff. It's
mhm,
just like it's not the thing that's like leading right now. And all of that, of course, has been useful. Like some of my time during college and here, the way
mhm,
I paid bills was doing graphic design and
mm,
uh, you know, a little bit of programming and stuff like that. So it was always for me something I was still at least interested in, right? It was kind of computer science, filmmaking, and music. Like I also thought I wanted to be a composer as
mm.
well. So like all those things were things I was interested in. So I don't think for me it would have been a tragedy if I ended up doing computer science. I think I would have kept on exploring that, and maybe I would definitely have ended up in VFX, because that definitely combines the computer science with art in a much stronger and bigger way.
Right.
Um, but I think I would have kind of still have done it. I think my personality in general, I'm not like headstrong or stubborn, but I think I'm very much about exploring my own interests, and so I would have maybe it would have been a detour or led me to something else that I like or something.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's interesting to know. So how have you differentiated yourself in the industry that is becoming more and more populated, seeing that everybody, Corona has actually brought out a whole lot of talents and creativity out here, right? So how
Hmm.
do you
Yeah.
work?
Um, I think in the beginning, you're kind of told that you have to pick your style or pick your lane.
Mm-hmm.
very strongly and have a very strong thing so people can see, oh, there's that person, this is what they do, and it's very strong. And I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, um, it's maybe been a longer path, but um, I kind of explored everything. Like in my work, like you can see, I've done some animation, some stop motion animation. I've done some drama. I've done, different
Animation.
genres and different styles and different things. And I
Yeah.
think what I've learned over time is that uh, what your style is or what differentiates you
Mm-hmm.
is just what your preferences are as an artist, right? It's like if I
Right.
was given the choice between A and B, I
Mm-hmm.
generally will always do A. And then with
Yeah.
camera, if I'm given a choice between A and B, I'll do this thing. And so over time, I think I've developed a style,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what I would call it. I think as a cinematographer, a big part of your job is really understanding the story and getting to the core of what it's telling, of like the emotions of the characters, and figuring out how you want to represent the story
Right.
visually, and what's the best way that will impact the audience to realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing for me now is that I feel like I'm very good at doing that. I'm very good at getting down to like the core of what it's supposed to be. Um, uh, Generally get along with most people, so I can work with
The industry requires you to be that kind of.
yeah, yeah. I think a lot of directors feel comfortable around me and working with me. Some directors, it's like I balance them out. If they have this kind of frenetic energy or they're anxious or whatever, I've
Right.
always generally in my life been very, very, very chill and calm. And I think I then have a calming effect on my collaborators, which I think that's then another thing that
Right.
maybe distinguishes me or something. I don't know. And then,
Yeah.
of course, being here, I have an accent, I'm from another country. All these things, like, they're all little things that people will choose what they want
I
to
know.
distinguish you. It's like sometimes it's not really your decision. Someone may hire me because, like, oh, we need a black DP, or they hire me because in our interview, like, we vibed, or they hire me because they're like, oh, this one project that you shot out of the hundreds that you've done. This project, I love this project. I want my film to look like this project.
Oh,
Sometimes
nice.
it's not really your decision how you're distinguished. You just, for
Right.
me, I just do the work, and every job I do, I try to do like my best. And hopefully people resonate with that, and the work, whatever it is.
But the thing is, the good thing is though, the industry on its own requires you to stand out more than anything. It
Yeah,
does. Yeah,
yeah,
like if you fit in, what's the point? What are you bringing to the table, really, right? For some
yeah.
reason, even as much as you may not know how you stand out, for some
Hmm.
other people, you will literally stand out somewhere, somehow, right? And
Yeah,
I don't know how, but
yeah. It's
you can
it's
just fit
like the people, your projects
in.
will in a sense kind of find you. I think as long as you're actively also seeking those things and those people,
Right,
then
exactly.
they'll find you for what your thing is.
Right.
Um, so yeah.
Ah, perfect. That is so awesome. So you said you when it comes to I see a guitar behind there, and you also
Yeah.
mentioned a little bit about music. So when it comes to, is it just composing? That's it, or you don't sing as well? Here
uh,
it is.
no, not properly. I sing in the shower, I sing whatever songs,
Okay.
but not professionally. So when I was doing the youth group stuff, I didn't start playing any music until uh that 16, 17, around there, when I that's when I first started going to youth group. And
Right.
then they had the band, and I forget who first got me to do the band, but I think I remember seeing the band and thinking, oh, it'd be cool to learn the piano. And so I started fiddling around with it. I ended up playing in the band, in the youth group, and then in the main church. And that was my introduction to music, and then to like a little bit of jazz and all this sort of stuff. And I think it was in that, with also liking movies and films, that
Right.
I was like, oh, like maybe I could like compose music, like when you're just humming music and doing this stuff. At the
Right.
same time, I had a bunch of friends who were doing music production, and some people were doing like really, really well, you know?
Mhm.
Uh, and so we're all just, you know, you go to someone's house in Winona and we're all like, just like, you know, everybody wants to be a rapper or whatever stuff, but you're just listening to this stuff, right? And so I
Right.
was like, oh, you know, producing music, doing soundtracks, that was like something that I felt was possible for me.
Okay.
But when I came to the States, and
Hmm.
I did community college, which is just the basics, you know, all the math, science, biology, history, government, whatever. When I
Hmm.
got to UT Arlington, I went to the music school and I was like, oh, hey, can I do music? And for them, they wanted you, you know, to be able to read music and like you had been doing it since you were 2 years old. You know, like that's the typical story musician you hear. And I was like,
Exactly.
oh, I've only been playing for 2 years and it's by ear. My reading isn't that good.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't do music then. And
Okay.
so I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just go to the film school. And so I went to the film school instead. That's how like my decision between soundtrack and music and film was made. It was just kind of made for me, but I liked both just as much. I feel like I would have been comfortable doing both. Yeah.
Ah, that is so awesome to learn. Okay, I
Yeah.
feel so inspired myself here, to be honest.
Oh, cool, sure,
Oh,
cool.
I am actually, but you know what? Just keep going. Just do what it is that you feel like doing and go with it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I admire musicians. I think there's a lot of discipline in music. To be good at music, there's much more discipline, I think, than even in
Really?
filmmaking. Yeah, like the best musicians, especially jazz musicians,
Yeah.
have to be so technically good and proficient, but also at the same time incredibly creative because they're just vibing off each other. Like you're
Right.
kind of working off each other, all the improvisation. You know, music at the highest levels, I think, demands a lot of discipline. They
Right.
make it look easy and fun, but like it's a lot of time to get there, you know?
Not even just easy and fun, but just the final product. You're like, okay, how do
Yeah, yeah.
know, when I enjoy music, because I'm now always on radio, right? And when I'm listening to
Hmm.
music, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did you put this together? How did you figure out that this beat would go with this rhyme? How would you
Yeah,
know? And I'm like, I wish I knew. And I feel like musicians are one of the most talented people. Like, I don't know. It's
yeah,
just it's
yeah,
just
I think so. Jazz musicians specifically
specifically.
are
How
the
about
best.
jazz versus opera?
Jazz, it's still jazz.
Really?
I think jazz. So opera
Yeah.
is like a specific skill. It's like just the singing, and I'm sure like there's something to be said about people who are amazing singers.
Yeah.
But if you're a jazz musician, it's not just being an amazing
Uh-huh.
musician in terms of like how good you can play. It's how well you can listen to the bass line that the bass player is doing, right? He's doing some random bass line, but it has a pattern, it has a rhythm. Then now you have to react to that and give something back with the piano or with the drums or something like that, you know? But make that five people and somehow all these five people are like listening to each other at the same time that they're performing at a high level and doing all this stuff, and then
Yeah.
to us as the audience it just sounds like these guys have been playing together forever but they're improvising. And I
Huh.
think that's there's something like incredible to that because it
Mhm.
has a part of maybe collaboration. I think is the thing for me. Filmmaking has collaboration too, and maybe that's why music appeals to me as well, especially things like jazz, because you're bouncing ideas and rhythms and things off of each other, you know, and sharing this space to create this art. And I guess filmmaking is like that in a way too. So
I
yeah,
think I'll start paying attention to jazz like that and see. And like, huh, okay.
yeah, especially live jazz. People just improvising. I think it's incredible. It's really
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. Okay, I love that. So I will pay attention to that. So do
Hmm.
you mind telling us how many projects you've done so far and any popular ones that we can go and check out, right?
Um, the stuff that's available right now, off the top of my head, I have a feature film called All Creatures Here Below, and I
Oh,
think that's on VOD. It's on Amazon and some of the other VOD platforms.
oh yeah.
Um,
Now I
I
got
think my first feature was 3 days in August, and it's like a melodrama about like a Texas family. I think that's available on video on demand as well. And
okay.
then I have some stuff is available on my website. Some of the short films that I've done, some of the music videos that I've done, I link to them from my website, but they can be found like on YouTube and other places. And then what's the most recent? There's a short film I did called The Coin. It's like stop motion animation.
Mm.
That we released online, I think about a month ago, after it kind of finished its festival circuit and all this stuff. So that's maybe the most recent thing um, that's out. But if you
Mm.
go to my website, which is bongaj.com, bongaj.com, I showcase a lot of my work on there, and my credits are on there as well. So you can kind of use that to find where the work is.
Definitely, I will do that this weekend. That's my homework. So last week I was actually binging on Amazon. I was like, okay, let's see what's on Amazon. What do we have? And then I saw Antebellum. I watched it. It was nice.
Yeah, yeah,
It was the talented Arnold doing his thing, and I'm yet to watch Palm Springs because each time I tried to watch it, especially
yeah.
out,
Uh-huh.
each time I tried to watch it, I there were kids, especially at the beginning, right? I had my little cousins. I was like, okay, God. I even
Oh,
said, I was like, yeah, your movie, no, you have to see that, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good. It's good. And Tonga's role is
So
cool as
now I
well. He's
can
like plays a
watch.
cool part.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. It looks really hilarious, but then just the first part
Hmm.
and stuff like that, the sexual scenes and stuff. I was like, okay, I will stop it and then I'll watch it on my own. But yeah,
Yeah.
I will search for yours as well, and then just have fun and support our Zimbos doing the most out here. In the
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it for sure. For sure.
No, that is so amazing. So, what has been the most memorable moment about your career so far, and how long
Um,
have you been doing it?
so I don't know, filmmaking is weird. It's like it's hard to draw the line of when you started.
Yep.
Because you're already filming little projects and things in film school. Obviously, some of them are projects, but
Right.
some of my friends and I would try film things outside of class to try enter into festivals and things like that.
Right.
As a cinematographer professionally, which I would say maybe is when I started just getting paid only to be a cinematographer.
Mhm.
2015 or 2016 was the year. Kind of the transition was 2015 because I
Mhm.
started off first as an assistant camera person, pulling focus and building the camera. And then, some people would let me operate sometimes. And then, so at the same time, I'm still shooting projects with my friends, right? Like music videos, short films. Then 2015 is where I think professionally I started to get hired on jobs as
Oh,
the cinematographer or the director of photography. And then by 2016 and on, I've just been exclusively a cinematographer or director of photography only. So maybe that's like the line in the sand is I guess 4 or 5 years ago.
right.
But I've been doing film for longer than that, or if you include the assisting and the kind of other levels that you go through. I think the most memorable thing right now, it's kind of the most recent thing, but I think it is the most memorable because I think I learned so much.
Mhm.
Um, it was a project that I wasn't actually the cinematographer; I was the camera operator.
Oh,
So, if if the director of photography is the person in charge of the visuals and
mhm.
they're collaborating with the director, the director is letting them know, you know, how they envision like the story and stuff like that, then and the director of photography is responsible for capturing it with the camera and lighting it and all of that stuff. The camera operator is the person who's physically moving it, the actual camera, Um, and
Yeah, because
so
I always wondered why the three people on the camera. I'm like, can one person do that?
yeah, well, there's the director of photography. That's the person, in a sense, like as the director of photography, it's really more about your creativity and your ideas, right?
Okay.
You have a whole lighting department that is gonna execute the lighting for you, or whatever your lighting plan is.
Okay.
They're gonna do it. You have a whole grip department which they help the lighting folks, but they also help with the ways that you can move the camera, like dollies and sliders and all this stuff. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have the camera department, which then is the actual person who's physically moving the camera, and
Hmm.
then the camera assistant who is the one who builds the camera and picks it up and puts it where you want it, and is also making sure everything is sharp and in focus. So
Mm.
you're kind of in charge of these three departments as a director of photography. So like you're the idea person, you're the person giving the instructions. So
You're right.
yeah,
That's
so the
my director of.
photography, yeah. And so like what happens then is usually on indie projects and smaller projects, you don't have the budget to have a DP and also have a camera operator. You're just gonna make the director of photography operate the camera themselves, which a lot of them are happy to do. I'm happy to do that because I feel like I'm connected to what's happening, watching the
Mm,
actors, watching what's happening, and I
mm,
want to move the camera a specific way, right? But on bigger shoots, that person who's got the camera on the shoulder, so to speak,
mm,
is a separate person. So I was doing that position on a TV show for Amazon called Solos, and it was a pretty big budget. It was a bigger budget than I had ever been on,
mm,
and the director of photography was someone who really demanded a lot from his operators in that he wanted you to contribute to making the shot, to like framing it, and should we shoot here or should we shoot here, like he let allowed a lot of input. So it was great because I got to watch director of photography work at a high level that I haven't never done, but I could watch how he worked. I could watch the lighting he did. I could watch how he spoke to different directors that came in.
mm.
um, I had a it was felt like a masterclass for me, but at the same time I was also able to contribute to the process, in terms of once he said, yeah, let's shoot from here, and let's use this lens. After that, I was the one who had to talk to the rest of the crew and say, hey, let's put the dolly here. I want to do move from here to here. This is what we're looking at. And so it I learned a lot. It built a lot of confidence, I think, in knowing that some of the decisions and ideas I have are actually good and that they would actually work for higher levels. Sometimes you doubt that you're worth anything or your ideas are worth anything.
I know.
But
Yeah.
my own ideas were like, oh, he thinks that's good. Oh, okay. And I can tell these people how to do it, and we execute it, and it happens. And so I
Yeah.
think it was just like changed my whole perspective in how I felt about my work and
Yeah.
the work I could possibly do. So
Woohoo.
it was very fun. So I don't know when exactly it's going to come out, but it's called Solos, and it was a
So
lot of fun to work.
do
Yeah.
let us know, and we will tag you and post it on our After Five Radio
Yeah.
handles. Please, we will be glad to do that.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I will.
That is so
Yeah.
awesome. So since we're running out of time, just one last question here, for
Hmm.
our listeners who are looking to get into film, or what message would you give to our listeners who are looking to get into the industry of cinematography, or of film, really, as a
Yeah.
cinematographer? Or what do they need? I was actually on, what do you call it, on Clubhouse, where
Mm-hmm.
I chill with actors there too, because I'm actually in the acting industry as well. So,
Yeah.
learning from others as well, getting to know how it is in the industry, who to talk to, who's who, and stuff like that, right? And being
Hmm.
told that, okay, you have to. But somebody was asking, is it worth going to school, or just depend on your talent, or so stuff like that. So what advice would you give to somebody who wants to get into cinematography, in terms of and stuff like that? Is it
Oh man,
we can
I
say go?
wish I wish I had more time because there's a lot of things. But I think number
Imagine.
one, I'm just gonna put it out there and
Mhm.
say that it's possible. I think that's one thing to just get over. That hey, like do it. You can make it in the film industry. It's possible for you to make it.
Mhm.
Two is there's going to be a process of discovery. You need to figure out what you want to do within the industry. It's like the film industry is big and there's a lot of jobs. There's a
Mhm.
lot of different places that you can use your skills. Do you want to do commercials? Do you want to do music videos? Do you want to do movies? What part of that do you want to do? Do you want to do TV? Whatever it is in filmmaking, a lot of it is about knowing what you want to do, knowing yourself. And of
Right.
course, if you're just starting out or considering it, you're you want to, it's a process of discovery.
Mhm.
So read everything you can, buy every single filmmaking book you can,
Mm.
YouTube every single how-to
Thank
video,
God for
watch
YouTube, right?
everything. Yeah, and then if you can, if you have the means, do go to film school, because film school, um, you get to meet other people, and the film
Yeah.
industry is like a people industry. So even
Yes.
if you do it on your own and you learn on your own, get out there, go to the festivals, go to the events where film is being done, connect with other people and collaborate, because that's a big part of it. And just keep on doing it every single day.
Yay,
Yeah.
that's so awesome. And thank you so much for the advice. And usually that's the advice really when it comes to the industry that I've heard over and over again to say, you know what, you have to be approachable at the same time. You have to be able to collaborate with a whole lot of people and,
Hmm.
go out there, put yourself out there, right?
Put yourself out there. Yeah. Do it.
Don't be afraid to do that, right? But
Yeah.
thank you so much, Bongani. It was lovely getting to know you, getting to know your work, and we look forward to watching more of your work. And please do let us know. We can tag you on our social medias, also our
Hmm.
social media, so people can actually follow your work. And we will put all the details on our social media.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate it. I really want to connect with more Zimbabwean filmmakers, more South African filmmakers. We've got family that side as well. Like
Right.
I think there's a lot of stories to be told there that haven't yet. And this year, especially and right now, I want to connect with people. So please, whoever's listening, reach out,
Right.
find me, let's collaborate, let's make stuff happen.
Do you know Nico though? Nico Aboti. I think Nico knows.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do know Nico, and I'm gonna reach out more to Nico, to
Yeah.
Joe Njagu,
Jojo as well. Yeah.
all the folks. Like I'm this year, I'm trying to make
Faruka
more effort.
Seki.
Yes, yeah,
Those
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely trying to connect with everyone in a more meaningful and intentional way, and you know, uh, find ways to make film a more viable thing in Zimbabwe. That's like my goal. My goal is to revive the Zimbabwean
Hallelujah.
film
I will
industry.
meet you there. I will
That's
see.
what I want to do. The Zimbabwean film industry and make it like top tier. We deserve just as much to be as big and bigger than Nollywood and Bollywood and
Yes.
the Asian film industry, like, and have high quality, amazing film work and filmmakers coming out of Zimbabwe and out of Southern Africa. Like that is my mission. That's my goal. If that is yours, then reach out to me and let's make it happen.
Oh, definitely. We will do that. Thank you so much, Bongani. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you here. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
All right.
All right.
Cheers. Peace.
Cheers. All right, that was the humble and ever so cheerful Bongani, who was actually chilling with us here on After Five Radio, telling us about his journey as a cinematographer, or just in the film industry, how it is. And if you want to link up with him, do feel free to link up with him on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. He's already put out his social handles. If you missed that, definitely I will put it on my Instagram, although the social handles, so you can follow the guy. Such a talented young gentleman, doing the most out here in the diaspora. Thank you so much, Bongani.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So till next time, I will talk to you and I will catch up with you afterwards.
All right, for sure.
All right, take care.